Salutations, everybody. How are you doing? Oh, Lord. Oh, my gosh. Okay, we good? You okay? Okay. Astro here, back with another video for the Tekken Academy. Today, we're going to be talking about throws because they are very important. I remember, or I had said in the defensive section that we would make a second video about throws because they're kind of a weird thing, and this is it. So what we're going to do with this video is we're going to talk about the offensive application of throws and good ways to use them, and we're also going to talk about defensive application, some ways that we can stop ourselves from getting thrown and why it's important to tech throws. As well as I have some drills that you guys can do that I use to help me go from being absolutely free to being grabbed to breaking not everything, because that's impossible, but we'll get to that, but breaking a good amount, enough to discourage people from trying to throw you. So there is that. We'll get straight into it. Yeah. So to start everything off, the number one question I always get when I talk about throws, teching throws, and why you should, everybody always asks, they want the answer to the last question. Why should I learn how to tech throws? Why is it important? It's a duckable high. Wouldn't it just be better for me to duck it and launch it? And honestly, it's a two-part question, because if you know that they're going to try and throw you, yes. If you have the read, duck it, launch it, get your damage, right? But sometimes when you're playing defense, like we had talked about in the defense video, it's not as simple as just ducking. It's not as simple as just trying to do it, right? Because it's not just throws that you're looking out for. You're looking for mids that can launch you and do a whole bunch of damage, right? So that is probably the main thing about throws and why it's so important to break them. Being able to consistently break throws is extremely powerful, because you essentially strip your opponent's offense by like a good grip, depending on what character. So right now we have Lee and Hwoarang, right? Lee has one command grab, which is up forward 1+2, and it's a 1+2 break, right? But a character like Hwoarang has 3 command throws, and well, he has 4, but 2 of them are 1+2 breaks. So he has forward 2+3, which is a 1+2 break. He has up forward 1+2, which is a 1+2 break. He has quarter circle back 3, which is a 1 break, and he has 2+4 hold back, which is a 2 break, right? So if you can consistently break throws, you then make it so that you're not worrying about every single break you have to do. You're worried about the rest of his offense, right? The lows, the mids, the highs, and what you could work with that, right? Essentially, the ability to break throws is super powerful, because throws in this game especially are extremely strong. Extremely strong. I believe they're faster than Tekken 7. Counter hit throws are crazy, and a lot of throws give you a lot of really good situations. So the idea behind having the ability to break throws is essentially just to take a layer of your opponent's offense completely out of the question. Now, of course, like we said in the intro, it's impossible for you to break every single throw, and if you think you're going to break every single throw, you are fucking delusional, okay? Sometimes characters are just going to get you, right? Sometimes things are just going to happen, and it's going to be like, oh, dang, sometimes they get you, and they're going to catch you off guard. It happens to us all, right? But in the event that, you know, you're just in neutral and you're, you know, everybody's playing, we're moving around, and I just run up and throw, you want to be able to break it, right? And also, I think it's important on that note to understand the break situation of your throw, to know how minus you are in any situation if your throw is broken, right? So especially for things like side swap throws, which we will talk about, it's really important that you know how minus, or if you even are minus on a throw break like that, just for certain situations. And I'm pretty sure we'll get to that in the next section. We're going to talk about why should we use them regardless of how many command throws our character has. So usually, I'm pretty sure every Tekken character has at least 1 command grab, and it is very obvious that they wanted us to use these because of the properties that were given to them in this game. So the question, Astro, we never saw throws in Tekken 7 and before. Why should we start using them now? It's simple. They're kind of broken. So really, the main thing about these that needs to be stated is that they're homing. They're homing. Hwoarang is stepping, and like, these are situations where if jab misses, right? Jab misses. Down forward 1 tracks that way, but ignore that. But like basically a move of this speed would miss on that step, right? The other thing is that they track both ways. So no matter which way you step, these throws are going to catch you, right? And that's a good way to catch people off guard, because when they're looking to make a defensive play by doing something like maneuvering, sidestepping, things of that nature, anything that basically isn't ducking because it is a duckable high, like I said before, you put them in a situation where now they have to look for something else. It's not just, okay, I got to watch out for this. It's like, okay, I got to watch out for this, or I have to watch out for this, which is two completely different responses. One is don't press anything and just block it. The other one is I have to press 1+2. So you kind of are putting them in another mix-up situation when you read that they have the sidestep. Another great thing about throws being homing in this game, also along with them being 12 frames fast, is that they can supplement characters with weaker tracking to a certain side. So if you know that your character is weak to sidestep right, if you notice that your opponent knows that and they try to sidestep you right a lot, being able to supplement that with throws that they now have to worry about breaking along with it provides another layer, right? And another thing too is if the opponent does break the throw breaks are never punishable. So if you are caught in a situation where you make a bad read with a homing move, you can be -10, -11, minus whatever, right? But if you break a throw, at most I think you're -6, and that's usually in the case of side switching throws like this, right? So making sure that you're mixing these in regardless of how many throws you have, whether you have, you know, whether you're playing King and you have 30 billion, whether you're playing Huareng and you have 4, you're playing Jin, you have 3, you know, or you're playing Lee and you only got 1, right? Using these tools is super important, especially on the fact that if you counter hit them, which is made by this noise, the break window is now faster. So your opponent has to break it at a faster pace, which I believe is 14 frames. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but it does make it significantly harder. You are basically almost like have to be pressing the button as you're being thrown, right? Which brings us to our next point, right? If your character does have a 1+2 command grab, if you are going to try to catch your opponent doing things like mashing in sequences, pressing buttons in situations, I always say the good idea is if you have a 1 command break, try to stay away from it unless you're in certain situations, right? Because the normal thing that people mash is a 1 jab, right? So if you do a 1 break while they're mashing the 1 jab, they're gonna break the counter hit throw. Whereas opposed to if you do maybe a 2 break or a 1+2 break, that counter hit throw now has to be seen and they have to go, oh shit, press 2 or 1+2. Okay. And that's basically it for like it's not really that hard offensively, right? It's literally just the idea behind it is be unpredictable. Being, like we said in the offensive video, you want to read what your opponent does, look at their tendencies, and see when you can just kind of see if you can sneak one in. Really, that's the key to it. You don't want to try and, if you're throwing people all the time, once again, unless you're playing King, we will go over him in this video because he's a little cheater fuck. Unless you're playing King, who's a grappler who is going to attempt to throw you multiple times per game, right? Trying to sneak them in or overuse of a throw will allow your opponent to lock in and see, okay, hey, he's trying to 1+2 throw me a lot, right? So you want to, the idea of using throws if you're not playing a grappler character is you want to try and catch people off guard with them, right? And using them in that manner will lead to a higher success rate on the throws, even the generic ones that can be broken with either button, right? Because like I said, you have to react to these counter throws, right? And it's a lot harder than it looks, okay? So that's gonna be kind of the first use. Now, the second use is something that is really good, is that because what a lot of people will already know is that during situations like if you punish a rage art, or if you catch a power crush, which let me see real quick, they'll get the point across. Right, so as you guys saw, the opponent is set to break throws, regardless, right? But if I do this, he can't break that. Right, so this damage is guaranteed. Right?
So if you by chance have a character with maybe a floor break, right? Like actually Huarang does. So I can actually showcase this. So we're gonna have him do, we're gonna record this, and we're gonna have him do, start recording, we're gonna have him do down 3-4 up. Oops, wow. I'm doing this on my pad, so bear with me here. Okay. Alright. Yes, perfect. And the floor is already broken, so we're gonna go ahead, actually, hold on. Alright. And then we're just gonna have him play this. Throw. But in situations like this, it turns throws or counter hit throws on power crushes into full-blown launchers, as we see here. Hold on. Nothing I could have done. And now he gets a full combo, which actually leads to a back turn setup. So using these throws is actually integral to an offensive game plan. Regardless of how many you have, you need to make sure you're using them. Now, of course, I'm not saying you have to try and throw them like, you know, 12 times a game, but maybe try and sneak one in, one around, two around, especially if you find out your opponent can't break them, because that's a whole nother situation in itself. If your opponent can't break throws, please abuse the shit out of that knowledge. Throw them every single chance you get. And also, if you're playing a character that has a bunch of command grabs, like Huarang, for example, take note of what breaks your opponent is breaking, because sometimes when people get thrown, they don't necessarily break the throw, they just go like this. They see they get thrown and they, oh shit, right? They'll press 1-2 1+2 or 2-1 1+2, right? So if you notice that, hey, I've one thrown him 3 times and I went to go do a 2 throw and he broke it, and then he broke the 2 throw again, you know that he's mashing 2 to break. So you're free to do your 1 throw. And then when he starts breaking that one, then you can start moving to another button, right? So kind of using that knowledge to kind of mind game an opponent who can't deal with throws is really good. You will, like, you guys don't understand the difference between beating somebody who can break throws and who can't break throws is night and day. I'm telling you, if you have command grabs in your character's kit and you can make it so that, especially with the way that lockout works, so if they're pressing something, so if the Huarang player goes for a 2 jab and I try to throw him, he's locked out from the throw, right? So he can't break that either, right? So using that knowledge to your advantage and understanding the strength of these offensive tools is really important, especially with how fast they are. A lot of the time I see people trying to mash jab. Sometimes it's just as good to mash throw. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the defensive section coming up next. Okay, so starting off, what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in a situation that a lot of people are going to find themselves in the game, right? You're at the corner or at the wall, your opponent's in front of you, and we already have an offensive sequence from Huarang recorded, and it goes like this, right? Everybody's been here, you're getting pressured, you know, they're going crazy on you, and what do we do here, right? Well, here's an idea. A lot of people have the mindset to try and mash in these situations, right? Try to press a button to get their opponent off them, which in a lot of cases can work, right? Right? Trying to press a button to get out of the situation is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Right? Trying to press something to get out, right? But what if I told you there was a way that you can put yourself in a good situation that literally has no downside that mashing doesn't, right? And that's using a throw. So if you guys noticed when we were going through all the throw breaks and stuff, right? Some of these throws switch sides. And some of you guys already have an idea of where I'm going with this. But essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to try and work on using throws in our sequence because it has no downside unless, once again, unless you get counter hit, which you can get counter hit for mashing, or if you get ducked, which can happen if you're mashing as well, right? So it basically has the same downsides as mashing, but instead, you're using a throw that has twice the plus sides. Instead of getting a dick jab for, you know, 5 damage, or a regular jab, or maybe a jab string for what, like, well, at least it's a little bit different, for 26, you can get a throw for 35. So let's do the same sequence again, but we're gonna try and input a throw where we try and input a button. Okay, so there we got counter hit, right? Right there. Okay, so you guys see what just happened with that situation, right? Now we stop, and now look where we're at. The role's reversed. Now Hwoarang is against the wall, and I am the one in. Now, of course, in this situation, I'm -6, so you do still have to be careful because it's still technically Hwoarang's turn. But with that situation, I would much rather be -6 with open space behind me than eating a bunch of pressure at the wall, right? So note which ones of your throws will switch sides for you, because that's really important to note, because you can use this tactic, because once again, throws are faster. They're 12 frames now, so it's a little bit easier. And then in the situation that, let's say he doesn't break it, because the throw, now Lee's throw is a little bit different, because this throw will switch sides regardless, but it off accesses you to. You guys see what I'm talking about. Boom. So we throw. So in that situation now, right, you notice that we got out, he took 35 damage, and now we get to pressure, right? So literally in that side, so if he breaks the throw, I'm out the corner. I'm off the wall. I'm -6, but I'm off the wall, and I can backdash. I can do whatever I want to. If he takes the throw and he doesn't break it, okay, well, I just got free damage. This example is quantified greatly if you have a character, or if your character has a throw that kind of does a little bit of both and leaves you in a really good situation. So we're going to go back and we're going to set Hwoarang to punish, because he does have a throw for this. And it's forward 2+3. Boom. So we're going to showcase a little bit about what that looks like real quick. So we're going to the wall, and then we don't want to switch positions. So we go here. So I'm basically... So you guys saw that, right? So let's say I'm trying to do pressure, right? I do -1 and a jab. Oh, I beat him there, right? We'll do -1. We'll do down forward 1 and a down forward 2. Okay, so I get thrown there. Okay, now I'm -1. Do you see this situation, right? Like we said with sidesteps in the defensive video, there's levels. Okay, there's different situations, different things, right? So we're either -1 and I am head towards him, face up, which is probably one of the worst positions in Tekken you can be in, or let's say I break the throw. It's 0. I'm still back to the wall, and he is in range to do whatever he wants to, because it's a neutral break. Right? So you guys can kind of get an idea of the power of some of these situations that you could put yourself in by just using a throw and being calculated with your button, as opposed to just trying to blindly press dick jab into somebody, right? Be mindful. That's the one thing about this game when we were talking about defense, using active defense, thinking about it, controlling the space in front of you, not letting your opponent do whatever they want in front of your face, right? Using these skills and mixing them with other strategies within the game can lead you to a lot of really, really favorable situations. If you are watching this video and you are a Hwoarang player, I definitely suggest, because this situation, and a lot of people think, well, okay, like, well, what, you're never gonna get that throw. Not true. I literally just threw speed kicks not even 15 minutes ago. I still lost, but I did throw him, and it put me in a really good situation, and I think I'm pretty sure I won the round. But you got to be mindful of your choice of things, because a lot of things will put you in a way better situation if you just think about it and try to think forward in the situation, as opposed to just, please don't heat burst me, right? And then once again, even in situations like this, when you know that your opponent's gonna aggress, even using throws that might not be necessarily the easiest to input, but you know you might be able to catch a counter hit throw if you mash it right, can put you in also another good situation. I'm not going to do that on my pad, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get quarters to go back 1 or 3 like within a timely manner. We're going to be here forever, so I'm going to leave that to you guys. Remember, like I say with every video, experimentation and getting in the lab. The lab is your friend. Go in there, see what works, see what doesn't, see what kind of situations you get put in, learn what your breaks are, how minus they are, and what situations they put you in. So we have already gone over the teehee I'm gonna throw on defense situation, but now it's time to talk about using or defending against throws. How do we stop ourselves from getting chucked all over the stage? The first thing that comes with that is understanding how throws work in Tekken. So usually in fighting games, there is a throw button and a tech button, and there is nothing more than that. Tekken's a little bit different. So right now I have all of Hwoarang's command grabs loaded up, right? So first thing that we're going to show is, you might have heard, you guys have already heard this already. I'm sure if you watch Tekken at all, you've heard 1 break, 2 break, and 1+2 break. But what does that mean? So just as with your buttons, 1 and 2 are tied to a limb, it's the same thing here. So Hwoarang's 1 break, as you guys can see, 1 break, the left arm is high and leads. So that would be what classifies the 1 break, right? Moving to the next one is the 2 break. As you can see, the right arm is the one that leads. The right arm is the one that's high, right? And then lastly, we have the 1+2 break. This is where both arms lead at the same time, right? So there's not really a lead arm. It's just both arms come out at once. And a lot of people, when I talk about it, because I've had a lot of viewers come to my stream and ask about, you know, teching throws and things like that, they always ask, well, how are you supposed to see that? And I have 2 methods for you guys that I use, and I use one over the other now. But when you're looking at the throw break, what you want to do is there's 2 things you can look at. When you're in neutral or your opponent's doing offense, everything, you can look at the high hand. If you notice this, every Tekken character is right-handed, and I know that sounds like it doesn't make any fucking sense right now, but just hear me out. Look at how Hwoarang and Lee are both standing, right? They both lead with the left shoulder. So if Hwoarang was to throw, the left shoulder is going to be high, right? It's because he's already leading with his left shoulder. So you can look at the shoulders to see, and you'll see the difference when I go to the 2 break, right? Oh, well, actually, there it was. So you can see in the difference in his stature. You see how his shoulders drop when he does the 2 break? I wasn't ready to break that. But you can see, hold on, I'm going to actually do this on the full screen, make it a little bit easier so you guys can actually see. So if I do this with my left hand, right? If you notice, they stand like this, right? So if I do it with my left, if I go to throw you, right? My left hand leading means that my shoulder stays up, right? But if I want my right hand to lead from here, if I'm going to do this and I want you see my right shoulder drop, right? So you can look at shoulders to do this, right? And that'll help you because characters will literally either lunge forward or reach over. They don't have a choice. That's just the way human anatomy works. If you're going with both hands, right, you will see that they kind of just stay neutral and they can just reach out and grab you, right? So 1, 2, 1+2, right? And taking note of that and getting your brain used to seeing what that looks like is super duper important, and we'll go over that when we get to the drill section. Okay? But now that we kind of have an idea, right, we know the difference between 1, okay, I have to do it manually. But between the 1 break, the 2 break, and the 1+2 break, right? So essentially you have, I believe it's 16 or 17 frames from being thrown to break the throw. If you get counter hit thrown, it goes down to 14. I might be wrong there, I'm not gonna lie, but you have a pretty decent amount of time to see that it's coming and then be able to break the throw, right? So the idea is so the first thing, that's what I was gonna say, that's the tactic that I use. I like to look at shoulders to see, because after I learned that and I saw that, it makes it a lot easier to see. And it's actually, fun fact, it's actually easier to see this if you're on player 2 side. It's a lot more exaggerated, and I can actually show you guys that right now. So set us to switch real quick. Switch, and then we'll do the 1 break. And you guys will be able to see this is a lot more exaggerated when you can see the chest of the person, because you see how his chest was open when he tried to do the 1 break. Now when I show you guys a 2 break, you don't see it, right? His chest disappears. because he's trying to lead with his right arm, like I was saying. And then we move to the 1+2 section. And the chest also disappears, but not that much, right? So it's easier to see from this side what I'm talking about, because you literally have the visual representation of his chest either opening up or closing depending on which arm he uses. So keep that in mind, and also that's a good motivator for some of you guys to learn how to play P2 side, because I know damn well some of y'all don't know how to play P2 side, and it's embarrassing because you guys get thrown and you have a panic attack, especially you Mishima players. I can smell your fear when I say P1 side. You better learn, okay? Now that moves us into our next section. We're going to talk about how to break. So when it comes to actually breaking the throw, right, we talked about it. You press play. When you get grabbed, you just press the corresponding button, right? Same thing goes for that. So I was 1+2. You guys can see by my inputs, this is going to be 1, right? You don't got to mash it. You just press it once. Now a lot of people, I mash it because I want to make sure I get my input, right? But see, and then 2, right? So you just press the corresponding button. That is literally throw breaks. Now the trick of this is you want to try and make it so that you're able to do it to the point where you're reacting to seeing your opponent's arms, right? And that also, I forgot to talk about the other method that I was talking about. Sometimes it might be easier for people if you look at the lead hand. If you look at the lead hand of the character, you can kind of get an idea. Now, of course, that does mean you're going to be looking at different spots on different characters, but just find the leading hand. So for Hwoarang, like I said, every Tekken character is right-handed except for the bears. They stand flat because they're stupid and ugly. Every character leads with their left hand. So if you look at the left hand, you will be able to tell whether it's high, low, or in the middle, which throw it is, right? Basically what I do, the way to differentiate between the 1 throw and the 1+2 throw is if you see the high arm and you're looking at the screen, you should be able to see the right arm either low or up with it. That's usually it. But I've just found shoulders being easier in terms of breaking throws. So that's just the one I use. Okay, now it's time to talk about everybody's favorite Jaguar masked asshole. This character right here is important to go over because he breaks a very important rule that we just talked about. So we're gonna play this throw, and by logic, what break is this? Now a lot of you guys probably said, Astro, you moron, that's 1+2. Okay, let's try it. I got chucked. That's because Giant Swing is a 1 break, but it looks like a 1+2 break because he needs it. No, but this is essentially because King is the grappler of the game. So he has a built-in 50-50 to his kit with any 1+2 throw and his Giant Swing. Now, this takes some situational awareness because some things that people don't know about the Giant Swing is that you can well, I guess I shouldn't say some people don't know, but you can tech the hit on the floor from Giant Swing to take less damage. So if King were to Giant Swing me here, and I eat it, and I don't touch anything, I take a lot of damage. A lot. I don't know how much that was, but you can see on the health bar, that was a grip. But if I press, you can basically mash any tech roll button, and you see I took a ton less. I took a ton less. So just so you guys can see it again. Just about half. Not half, okay? So make sure that you're using that ideology and that thought process. Make sure, and you always want to try, if you do get Giant Swung, always try and tech that throw. Now, what you guys may not know is that if you are set up against a wall and King does Giant Swing, you eat the full damage no matter what. So if King Giant swings me here, you're just eating. And that's where the 50-50 is the most dangerous, because now if I turn both of these on, right, I have to guess between whether I'm getting 1+2 thrown or 1 thrown, and I messed up both, right? So using using situational awareness here, Jesus King, chill out. Using situational awareness here, if I notice things like, hey, my back's to the wall, I am gonna be more likely trying to break. Throw me this. I'm gonna be more likely trying to break the 1 break. Now, the spine buster or the muscle buster does a lot of damage, but if you notice, the muscle buster does about the same amount of damage as a tech rolled giant swing. So you're actually taking less damage by just going with the giant swing break regardless. Now in open space, it's a little bit harder because you do actually just make a hard, you do have to just make a hard guess, but just kind of a nugget that might help you out in the King matchup a little bit. If his back is to the wall and he goes to throw you, more often than not, the King player is going to be trying to giant swing, unless it's, you know, like I said, this is where the mix-up comes in. If they layer their offense, they're thinking like, okay, well, hey, if my back's to the wall, I know he's going to try and break the giant swing, so I'm going to go for a 1+2 grab. And at that point, it's just good old Rochambeau figuring out who's right, who's wrong. But that is my little nugget for King. You do have to make sure that you're watching out and being aware of how often they use giant swing and when they use giant swing, so that you don't get yourself screwed over by taking a giant swing while his back's to the wall or eating unnecessary muscle busters mid-stage. Good? Good. All right, so I know what you guys are thinking. All right, Astro, you've done all this damn yapping about throws and throws and throws. How do I practice this? How do I get better at it? And I'll show you guys how I got better at it. Now, using this drill is honestly probably the best way to do it. It just helps, and I found myself breaking throws like blindly. Like, I don't even see them. It's like my brain just automatically like, hey, that's what it is. And it's because I associate the number with the arm. And that is done by a drill that I actually saw from a No Pants video that he said Nobi does. And now, what I like to do is I start off by just looking. Like, right, you see, 1 break, 2 break, 1 break, 1 break, 1 break, 1, 2, 1, and I start to warm my eyes up so I can see, and I start to do that. And literally what I used to do when I first started with this game and I really wanted to get serious about getting better with defense is I used to literally sit here for like a minute, and I would look, I would back up, I would look, 2, 1+2, 2, 1, 1+2, 1+2, 1+2, 2, 1, 2, 1+2, 2. So you guys see how fast, right? And you guys can see the speed of my recognition of seeing. Like, I wouldn't have gotten thrown except for that 1+2 throw in the beginning, right? Starting to associate your number and literally saying it out loud so that you can, you know, make sure that you're correct. It's like, it's something that they do. It's like writing down notes in school instead of just listening to them, giving yourself that second layer of like recognition to see like, okay, this is what this is, right? It allows your brain to start to process it at a little bit of a higher speed. And understanding that is a great way to start yourself off with stopping yourself from getting thrown and being able to see. Because it's completely, I am the biggest advocate of this, because back in Tekken 7, Tekken 6, Tekken 5, all those other games, there is no way in hell you can actually react to the arms of a character. And in Tekken 8, I am reacting. It is completely possible. Now, there's different situations. People like K-Wish he was talking about, he used to drill it literally every session for like 45 minutes or something crazy like that. You don't got to go that hard. Usually you only have to do these drills for about 5 minutes. You know, maybe before the session and after the session, and then you're good. But let's talk about how we step up into the next level. So next level of this would be to, you see it, you recognize it, you say it out loud. The next level would be to go up to the character, hold down back, and then let it play. And so 2, 1, 1+2. Now, the difference that we're going to do here is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say the break out loud, but now we are going to press the correlated button on our controller to the throw. Like so. 1 plus 2. 1. 1 plus 2. I pressed 2. 2. That was 1 plus 2. 1. 2. 1. 1. 1 plus 2. 1. 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2. 2. Right? So you guys get the idea. So the thing is that you really, this is so important when I say this. You would rather be slow than wrong. Okay? So if he does so, like, for example, if I do this and I go 1, 2, but I'm super fast, but I'm wrong, that does not help you. It is much easier to correct a bad or it's easier to correct or to speed up a good habit than it is to correct a bad habit. I would much rather you miss the throw window by 3 or 4 frames, but you recognize that you got the right throw break so that you can start to see it. When you start seeing it faster and you get the repetition in, that's when you're going to start breaking those throws, as opposed to if you just have a spasm every time an arm goes up and you're like, 2, but it was 1 plus 2. Now you're not doing it right in the first place, and now you're getting counter hit thrown, you're taking more damage and all that other great stuff. So, right? So the goal of this is to be correct, be precise, right? Do it correctly. And literally this is all I do. This is all the drill is, right? Making sure that you're correct with it. I pressed the wrong button like shit right there, but just making sure you're correct and making sure that you're doing it right. And then the next step after that is actually just breaking the throws, right? So just standing up and just letting them throw you. Damn, hold on, that first one comes out so fast, right? And actually being there and ready to break the throw. That was fast. But just, you know, being able to actually stepping it up. And then the step after that, to make it a little bit harder for yourself, is to set yourself, no, that's the wrong one. You want to set yourself to get counter hit. So that way you have to react even faster. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Ooh, that's hard. That's hard. But yes, you want to set yourself up for the counter hit throws to get yourself used to breaking that. When you get good at the regular throws, which I am obviously not. I need to lab more. But that's going to be the next step up. Now, it's also worth noting you don't want to fry your brain. So if you have to, take one of the throws out. You know what I'm saying? Make it between 1 and 2, or 1 and 1 plus 2, or 2 and 1 plus 2, right? It's better if it's better for you to start off, you know, lower grade and go, okay, hey, I'm going to do 1 break and 2 break. I'm just going to practice those 2. That's fine. As long as you eventually step yourself up and get it better, right? It's kind of like working out. Your muscle memory and things like that aren't going to get better if you don't challenge it. So if you're messing up the throw breaks, if you're not calling them out in time, if you're getting them wrong, that's okay. The practice will get you there. That's the point of you being in practice mode. The point of you being there is so that when the Brian player does his 1 plus 2 break on the floor blast stage, it's so you can break that throw and not get cooked, right? So just making sure that you're being precise. And once again, this is something that I have to say, this is not an easy skill to pick up. It's hard. That's why the video is so damn long, because there's a lot of explaining. It's difficult. So give yourself time, be kind to yourself, and go along with at the speed that you need to go along with to be successful, right? It doesn't matter how fast or how good your friend is at breaking throws, because your friend's not breaking throws for you, right? It has nothing to do with you. So treat it as that. And if your friend's super good at breaking throws, fantastic. Maybe ask them for some tips on how they practice and learn from it. Making sure that you do things at your pace and be kind to yourself is super important for your development. Understanding that is one of the deeper parts of becoming a better Tekken player and a better fighting game player in general, right? Nothing comes overnight. This is going to take a while, and it's going to take a couple of days of you getting chucked. And you're going to do this drill, and you're going to break none. You know, you're going to do this drill. And also, too, this is a sliding scale thing, right? You're going to have days where you're going to do this drill, and you're going to be breaking counter hit throws 7 out of 10, right? You're going to do this drill and you're going to get caught by normal throws 9 times. You are going to break 1 out of 10 throws. It's going to happen, right? You are not the same player every day, right? And just understanding that and being able to go, okay, hey, maybe you need to go and take a break and practice some throw breaks, or maybe it's just not happening today and you just got to roll with it, right? Understanding that is important. Very important. And with that, I think that's all I got for you guys. This is a little bit of a longer video. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this helps. If it does, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And, you know, hey, help me out with what the next topic of video should be. You know, I do read all the YouTube comments and everything, so go ahead and hit me up in the comment section. Or if you guys would rather, I have Twitch and Twitter. Jeez Louise, it's been a long day. Twitch and Twitter down below in the description. I hope you guys are having an excellent day. And I hope this finds you guys well. Keep grinding, keep playing Tekken. Have a good day.
Clouds too high, clouds too high, wounded skies. The truth shall set you free.